Hi everyone, this is Health Matters, and in today's episode, in line with the World Rare Disease Day, we are at Hospital Kuala Lumpur in their genetic clinic to talk about rare diseases. Now, what we're going to do in this episode is show you rare diseases from a doctor's point of view, and we also have two personal stories to share, one from a parent whose child has rare disease, and also another person who's suffering from a rare disease but managed to change their life. So join me in today's episode. Let's go. Now, Dr. Noor, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you are a very, very busy man. It was very difficult to get this interview with you. So let's start off very quickly. What classifies as a rare disease?
So rare disease refer to diseases that have very low incidence or prevalence in the population.
Okay.
So there is no uniform definition of rare disease. So in the world, so generally the figure range from 1 in 10,000 population to like 1 in 5 in 10,000 population. So those are considered low prevalence.
Okay. Now, doctor, the rare disease in Malaysia, what are the statistics like, or is there any statistics in Malaysia currently?
In Malaysia, we do not have official definition of rare disease, but some of the NGOs and some of the advocates recommend that with rare disease is defined as diseases with prevalence of 2.5 patients per 100,000 population. So in overall, there is probably more than 8,000 different rare diseases in the world. So a lot of these diseases, actually more than 80%, they are caused by genetic mutation. So mostly are genetic in origin. There are also some non-genetic rare disease, like some rare degenerative disease, rare infectious disease. And so most of these patients, probably over half, are actually children. And but having said that, some rare disease, their onset can be in the later life, in the adulthood. And most of these rare disease, they are chronic disease. They are causing a lot of disability, and then also burdens on the patient itself, as well as the family and the society.
Okay.
So overall, in the world, probably WHO estimate around 300 million people actually have some form of rare disease. So individually, each disease are very rare, but collectively they affect quite a large number of people.
Now, doctor, we have to talk about a specific type of rare disease, which is inborn error in metabolism. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So this is a group of rare disease. So inborn error metabolism refer to this genetic disease that's where you have deficiency or absence of certain enzyme in your that requires for the cell metabolism. So whatever food that we eat, there's many nutrients like carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So all these nutrients will be digested in our intestine and be absorbed into your blood in your body. So our body cell will use all these nutrients to build our tissue for our health and various functions. So all this involve biochemical reaction in our cell, and it requires many different enzymes. So these enzymes are encoded by our genetic information in our gene. So if there is a mutation in the gene, so our cell cannot make this enzyme. So this will disturb the biochemical or metabolism process in our body. So consequent of this, there is certain toxin built up in your body. So that can cause damage to various parts of the organ in our body.
All right. What is the mortality rate for this disease based on your current experience with your patients?
So it depends. So even inborn error metabolism is not a single disease, it's a group of disease. Currently, we know more than 1,000 different diseases which are classified as inborn error metabolism. So this includes amino acid disorder, some carbohydrate disorder, or fatty acid disorder. Also some organelle like mitochondrial disease, lysosomal storage disease, and so on. So patient will present differently. But in general, there is a spectrum of severity. Some patients present early, there's a neonatal onset disease, or some patients present later, the infantile or adult onset disease. Those neonatal onset disease usually present in the first 1 or 2 weeks of life. They tend to be more severe. Without any appropriate treatment, usually they will succumb to the disease very soon. Those were later onset disease is also a serious condition if not being treated properly, recognized and treated properly. So overall, the mortality rate is high if these diseases are not recognized and given appropriate treatment.
Okay. And what about the symptoms for this?
So it all depends on which disease we are talking about, because there are so many different diseases. The presentation is very variable. For example, this is amino acid disorder. So usually they will present of what is a change in their brain function. So patient will present of what you call inactive, refusal for feeding, vomiting, change in their conscious level, and seizure as well. So if it's a progressive symptom, okay, and so a lot of times they present acutely to a hospital. So unless they've been diagnosed and given appropriate treatments, otherwise this will result in severe brain damage. Whereas other diseases like lysosomal storage disease, they are more a storage problem. So you can see some physical changes. They may born with a normal appearance, but with time their face appearance changes. Then their liver and their spleen get enlarged. They may have changes in their muscle, in their bone, and other organs.
Okay, so you were talking about the disease where you can't really see any changes at the start,
Yeah.
but it's a disease where it develops over time. So how does a parent know whether their child is suffering, or is there any early detection that the parent can actually go through for their children?
So I agree that that is difficult to recognize by the parents. In some countries, like in developed countries, usually they have this what I call newborn screening program, where they take a few drops of blood from the baby and screen for all these inborn error metabolism. So this will enable early detection. In Malaysia, we do not have a benefit of this early screening by newborns screenings. But there is still some precautions that parents can take if the child have any unusual symptom, or the illness does not respond to any traditional conventional treatment. Then need to consider to test for all these rare inborn error metabolism.
Okay, and what about the treatment for this specific disease? Is there any treatments available now, and do you feel there are going to be advancements in the future on treatments?
Yeah, some of these inborn error can be treated, like those amino acid disorder, organic acid disorder. They can be treated with diet modifications, meaning the child need to put on certain special diet. And condition like lysosomal storage disease, there is advancement in recent 10 to 15 years, where you have these new treatments like the enzyme replacement therapy, where you replace whatever missing enzyme. You can make this synthetic enzyme using advanced DNA recombinant technology, and this synthetic enzyme can replace whatever enzyme that's missing in the cell. So there is other treatments like certain medication that can help to excrete whatever toxin metabolite that build up in your body. There is also organ transplant like liver transplant or bone marrow transplant for certain inborn error metabolism. So I believe there will be more advancement with scientists having more understanding of all these rare diseases.
Okay, all right. Thank you, doctor, for your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sefa, for joining us today. The first question we have to ask, what type of rare disease does your child suffer from?
My daughter Swati, she is now 21 months old. She has this infantile POMPE. So it was diagnosed when she was 6 months old, when she has this continuous pneumonia for almost 10 days. Right? So infantile POMPE is a condition where body doesn't have an enzyme by default. It's called a glycogen. A glycogen is in the body where it breaks down the sugar, glucose in the body, so that it behaves normally. But then my daughter doesn't have this enzyme in the body where it accumulates the sugar in the body, and then it makes her muscles weak. It enlarges her organs, including the heart, kidney, liver, and so on. So that's what, in short, what is my daughter's disease, infantile POMPE. Yeah.
Okay. Now we have to talk about the diagnosis, the process of the whole process of getting a diagnosis for your daughter. How was it for you?
Right. She was born as a normal child. She was normal as a normal baby, and we didn't notice anything unusual until she was end of her 6 months. Right. And when she was having this frequent pneumonia and prolonged pneumonia, even with a lot of medication, she wasn't recovering. We did an X-ray and then found that she has enlarged heart. And further echo test was done on her to found that she has a failed heart, and it was in a critical condition. And then they refer us to a genetic clinic in HKL, and we did a genetic testing on her. And that's when we found that she has the infantile POMPE. So there was no sign of that she having any rare disorder in her upon her birth. It's only when she was ailing towards 6 months and 7 months old, we found that she has this something very different in her. Yeah.
So was pneumonia a symptom for that specific disease?
Well, if you take any normal child will get a pneumonia, but then for her it was a prolonged pneumonia and non-curable pneumonia for a while. And only upon then it was more of doctor found out that, hey, it's not recovering. Let's do another further test after 10 days. And when she was born, she has this little tongue of her sticking outside. We thought it's normal. Medical professionals thought it's normal. Our elderly folks around us found it's normal. But then apparently it's one of the symptoms of the infantile POMPE because of muscle weakness. The tongue sticks out all the time for the kid, the infants. Yeah. So we didn't knew it earlier. It's only when we were diagnosed, she was diagnosed with the infantile POMPE, we found that it's one of the symptoms actually. So it was like, wow. She had that quite long, but then we didn't know. We thought it's normal. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to talk about the initial reaction. You as a parent, finding out that your daughter has this rare disease. I'm sure the first thing you would have been on your mind is to go out and do all this research and find out. But when it dawned on you that this disease is something serious, so what did you actually do?
We were clueless. We didn't know what is rare disease all about. We didn't know what is going to be then after in our life, that now we found that she has a rare disease. We were totally clueless. We knew that something is not right, but then we knew that something needed to be done, but then we didn't know anything about it at that point of time. So we slowly came to an acceptance. You see, my parents, myself, my wife, our surroundings, none of us knew how to take care of a special baby. We are used to the normal kids. So a lot of thoughts, a lot of things came to our mind. Accepting it was a very challenging thing in the first place, but then once we settled down and we accepted, we need to find a way to move forward, to take care of her. And it's a very different world that we came into, because we started to be in contact with the different doctors, other different rare disease children and parents. So it's a very different world that our world started. So it's a very stressful. It is very disappointment. It was there as well, because the life changed, and the children, the baby, her life changed as well. And we have a son who's 10 years old, and his life changed as well. it's a life-changing experience and a moment that we came to adoption with. Yeah.
And what are the biggest challenges faced by a parent in raising a child with the rare disease, based on your own personal experience and based on the parents that you know actually?
Right. The biggest one I would say is unknown, the world that we live in. You see, there's no one single condition that fits all the babies and children. Everyone, although the disease can be the same, conditions are different. And the way they are diagnosed, the way they have been treated, the way they have been living at their own home, everything is so different that we can't say everyone has the same life, even though they have the same disease. It's a lot of unknown in our rare disease world. The medication can work for some, may not work for another. And the lifespan of a child with that disease can be longer for one, can be shorter for another. So it's an unknown world that I live in, that it stresses you emotionally and mentally. We have to accept whatever that we knew. We live with what we don't know, and we can't find out what we don't know because it's not out there yet. So we do whatever that we could to find out. That is unknown area of it. The other challenges are coming to the life that we are adjusting with. The whole life change, right? You had a family life which was normal and routine. Things changed back home. You need to adjust that as much as you could. People's perception is a different story, but then there's another thing that you need to adjust as well, educating the rest. Managing a child with a rare disease comes with another set of challenge that we have is funding for the treatment, availability of the treatment. Not every disease have a treatment in country. So we're finding a treatment for that. Supplement treatments, therapies that we need to do for the children, commuting them forward and back to the back and forth to the treatment center. So all these are challenges that the parents of a rare disease child face. But one thing that I found among all this is the strength that we have as a parent group and the knowledge that we share among us help us a lot. But then challenge remains a challenge. We'll fight it every day.
All right. And do you constantly think about how your daughter is going to live her own life? Because we have to come back to your personal story and your daughter's story. What do you think could be one of the biggest things you have to face in this coming few years or few months and things like that for your story?
I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm not thinking too far ahead. Of course, I'm hoping the best for her in the very long future. I'm already thinking whether she will get to go to school. Does she get to graduate? Does she get to have a boyfriend? Does she get to have a married life with a child and so on? I'm totally clueless. We do not have anyone that we can refer to have that longevity lifespan with the disease. So, and everyone have a different life that I said, right? So we'll see what's with her. But one thing for sure, we'll do definitely the best for her to keep the lights on for her as long as we could.
Now, Mr. Siva, we have to talk about talking about this rare disease, advocating for rare disease. How did this actually start? Where did the initiative or the intention for being a voice for the people who have this rare disease, how did that actually start?
Been advocating for rare disease all the while. I realized that to have a system in this country, so that we'll have a lot of things taken care by itself rather than we all are pushing and fighting for it, right? So having a national policy for rare disease in Malaysia will be an ultimate goal that not only myself, a lot of other parents and NGOs that are hoping for, so that we have a system in place to manage the rare disease community and also the system and the children especially for a better quality of life. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir, for the blessing the website launching. And also, Dato Sri YB, Dr. Zulkifli, our Minister of Health, for being very supportive of the rare disease community since he took over the office, and he's member of staff. Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia, Hospital Kuala Lumpur. I have to be very honest that the doctors here and also the nurses, the staff, are amazing set of people that being very helpful and supportive. Not to forget Malaysia rare disease families and children. Each of us can be alone by ourselves, but together we are strong.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Siva, and good luck to you, your daughter, the rare disease community, and also your website. Thank you so much. So thank you, Rachel, for joining us today. So maybe we can start off with what do you actually suffer from?
I have this condition called mucopolysaccharidosis in general, whereby I'm under category 4A, which is MORQUIO syndrome. And in layman's term, this condition is whereby I'm lacking of an enzyme, and the function of this enzyme is actually to discard off the toxins in our body. Since I don't have this enzyme in me, both the good and the bad cells in our body are stored in my petite body, resulting in short stature and all these toxins being built up. Yeah. So in the long run, my condition will degenerate over time.
Okay, and what is the mortality rate of the disease? I know there's no statistics, but based on what you've gone through, and I'm sure you've seen other patients, based on that, what can you gauge as the mortality rate for the disease?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's very subjective in nature. I feel that if, let's say, an individual who are diagnosed earlier and they have gone through all the corrective treatment steps and taken the right treatments and so on, the mortality rate will increase over time. Like for my condition, the cervical fusion is very vital, and it is one of the treatment that keeps me mobile until this day. Yeah. If not, I'll be paralyzed or even on wheelchair by now.
Right, and we have to talk about what you actually went through. We believe that you actually have an education. You actually studied law.
Yes.
What were the challenges you faced? I mean, because having this disease, you go through a lot. What are the few challenges that you think were one of the biggest challenges that you managed to overcome to become a lawyer right now?
Well, I'm only a law degree holder. Challenges are plenty. Although whether you are born with a condition or even without a condition, challenges are always there. For myself, I would like to highlight on the healthcare sector. I was born in the late 80s, yeah, and during the early 90s, of course, there is no treatment, or the doctors don't even know of this condition. Well, they diagnosed me with mucopolysaccharidosis, but they could not pinpoint as to which category. So I went overseas to get myself diagnosed. But don't get me wrong, the healthcare in Malaysia since the 90s has been improved tremendously. And if this keeps on going, it will do good to all of us. As for education-wise, I think knowledge is also another important factor, whereby not only for people who are like me or our parents, but even the general public as a whole. They have to have a little bit of knowledge on this kind of rare conditions so that they are more compassionate in dealing with us. And also, if let's say we have a bit of information about our condition, we would not run helter-skelter like chicken, to find information. So I think that knowledge is important, so do not give up on education. See, although I'm with this condition, but I'm always in the mainstream education. So I've actually mixed around with all the other able bodies, and so I feel less. I built my confidence over the years, and I think that's very important. So as you mentioned, I got a law degree, whereby I did my law degree in Breakthrough Central College for the first 2 years, and my final year in UK. I went there independently. There are lots of challenges, definitely, but I try not to limit my life based on my limitations, but I work around it and find solutions how I can curb or intervene it. So yeah.
Did you feel that you had a good support system around, friends, family, and things
Definitely,
like that?
my family members are my great support system. So are my friends, and also the medical doctors here. If you have any questions or anything, you can always ask them. The nurses are helpful, cooperative, so are the doctors. Even my rare disease family members, they are always there for us. Whenever we have any problems or any difficulties, they'll be there to do their sharing. Yeah.
All right, and we have to finish off with what would be your advice for others that are in your position?
Well, in conjunction with World Rare Disease Day on February 28th, I would like to tell my comrades, which is all the other patients with rare disease, do not give up. I will not promise you that this journey will be a bed of roses. No, it will be full of carnations, daisies, whatever flowers you name it, it will be full of that as well. So if you are not choosy and picky, you do well and just fine. So do not give up. At my size, I'm 92.5 cm tall. I'm a working adult. I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker. And I'm also a finalist for Miss Amazing Malaysia. So if I can do it, so can you.
All right, and yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, this has been Health Matters episode. We'd like to thank everyone on the episode, all our guests, and also Hospital Kuala Lumpur. The thing about rare disease is it's not something that we see usually. It's something that we need to educate ourselves, and we have to admire the strength and perseverance of all the people who have talked here today. My name is Dishen Kumar. We'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.